This intro was not part of this video when it originally dropped on April Fool's Day, April 1st, 2020, during the whole coronavirus lockdown of America and the world, actually. Now, what I ended up doing is removing this intro from the video when I uploaded it using the YouTube trim tool, and then I undid the changes as soon as April 2nd came around. So here's this intro. Thanks for watching it after April Fool's Day. Now, if you're not familiar with me and my channel, I do April Fool's pranks every single year. In 2018, I created a fake product and demonstrated it even in a very convincing way and fooled a lot of people. You can even read the comments below. I actually lost quite a few subscribers that year because they got so mad that I introduced a fake product. And I did a making of the video also, which you can watch if you're interested. In 2019, I basically made it look like people were having loading issues the entire video, and I released the real video shortly thereafter. It was a lot of fun, and I have a lot of fun with these videos on this channel. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Sound speeds. And when you spend $1,800 on a microphone such as this DPA 4017B, my favorite microphone, you expect it to be one heck of a microphone, right? I mean, after all, it'd have to be if it's my favorite mic. But what if I told you that I found a microphone that's not even $3 that could outperform this microphone spec for spec, feature for feature, and everything? Do I have your attention? Category 1, what you get for your money. Here's the case for the DPA 4017B, and although it gives a little bit, it feels pretty solid. And like there's something spongy on the inside protecting, because I don't feel anything hard. Notice the tracks where the zipper travels is almost invisible. The zipper itself is made of rubber, sporting the DPA logo as it is on the front. You open it up on the inside, and the reason why it felt spongy is because it is. It's got 1-inch foam on the top part, and I'll get back to this part here in a second. On the bottom, not just the microphone, which is the capsule right here, and the B preamp, that's modular, and I love that microphone, but even the case is modular, allowing you to put other DPA products on the inside to save on space. You got to have your microphone clip, and it does have the standard 5/8/16 to 5/8/27 to 3/8/16 threads adapter on the bottom, and you have to have your wind protection for your shock mount. On the top here, this is elastic, and this is also the only sticker that Bandit Podcastage has ever liked before. That's because it says DPA microphones and has their logo on it. Double check me on that. You'll find out that I'm correct. And here's the specification sheet. And notice it's kind of small. That's because you don't really need this as anything more than for just a reference, because this is the actual specifications that were measured at the factory by the engineer that signed off on it before it left. This is the actual frequency response chart. This is the actual measurement. Like, for example, the sensitivity is 19.1 millivolts per Pascal. This thing is precise, and I love it. This is the unbranded handheld KTV WS858 rose gold colored microphone with built-in hi-fi speaker. Now, once you take this thing out of the cardboard, you're never going to want to put it back inside. That's why they don't bother spending a whole lot of money on it. Now, if you happen to have a phone from 2014 that uses a micro USB, you could even charge up your cable, provided that it's no farther than about 4 inches away from the wall cube. Now, the specifications on the inside do come on this little paper, and provided that you have a microfiche reader, you can read it, and you can see things like the frequency response range, or frequency range, is 100 hertz to 10,000 kilohertz. And this thing right here, just look at it. Doesn't this scream quality? For category 1, I'm going to give the edge over here to the DPA, mainly because it comes with a microphone clip. But I tell you, that was a close call, and I'm sure you'll agree with me on that one. Category 2, sound quality. Now, right now you're listening to the DPA 4017B, approximately 1 foot away from my mouth, and you can tell because this microphone's about maybe 8 or 9 inches long. Now, the reason I love the DPA 4017B is because it is die-hard flat. It is designed to be a flat microphone by DPA. It sounds very good. It doesn't have a low or high-end boost. It doesn't have a presence boost like many microphones do this day and age. It sounds very good. Crystal clear clarity, and it is just absolutely a detailed microphone. My voice sounds better in this microphone at 1 foot away than most microphones you will ever hear. And that's one of the reasons I love the DPA. Now let's switch over to the unbranded one here, which is I was only able to connect it up actually via and get it to record going out the line out, which unfortunately is unbalanced. And if I go quiet for a second, you hear how the preamp kind of shut down and you heard the self noise, which is rather high, but that might have to do with something about like the fact that I had to boost it 71 dB. So there's 71 dB of gain on my Sound Devices Mix Pre 6. Now, despite the fact that it does have Bluetooth, you see the little blue line, I was not able to get it to actually record on my phone. Now, my phone connects up via Bluetooth to this microphone just fine. And it also acknowledges in my voice recorder software that it's connected up to a USB microphone and trying to record on that. But this microphone is not sending any sound to it. It gets the buzz just fine, but not the microphone. Now, you also notice that there is a micro SD slot on the bottom, but surprisingly, that wasn't able to work as well either. And so when I hit the record button, I was expecting it to record, but it doesn't do that. Instead, what it does is it changes my voice. And the buzz in the background too. Now, I don't like the way my voice sounds on this. Or when you press it again and it changes to even more of a helium type sound than you're normally used to. And if you continue to press it,
it sounds more deep, and I don't really have a deep voice like my Dog Audio, so it's really no purpose in me sounding that deep, or even this deep, which is, I don't know, what is this, James Earl Jones or somebody? I mean, I don't like the way this thing sounds at all in those modes. So I would expect to hit the record button and have it hit record, but it doesn't do that. So as much as I like the fact that this microphone gives you 3 different ways of recording the sound out, sound quality wise, it cannot compete with the DPA. So sound quality, I'm going to give to the DPA microphone right here. Category 3, features. Let's start off with the DPA 4017B. It does have 2 switches on there, and I do like the feel of the switches because they click in place. Click, click. Now, there's one which is a high shelf, which gives about a 4 dB boost at 8K. And the second one is a roll-off, which is a first-order roll-off starting at about 120 hertz. And that's it for features on the DPA 4017B. But on this little bad boy, it is packed with features. And let me show you a couple of them. When you hit the power button, it does turn on.
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
DPA does not have a speaker.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
Good. I wanted to be able to connect it up to my phone to show you that it at least works. Unfortunately, as I mentioned before in the last segment, it does not actually record sound to it, though, for some strange reason. Now, it does have a USB-A port out, but because I don't have a USB-A to USB-A cable, there's no way for me to record the sound coming out of here, or at least to see if it works as a USB microphone. Now, one of the things that's really neat about it is that you can adjust the volume of the microphone, which is how I was controlling it. It was boosted all the way over when I was recording the sample in the previous clip, and despite that, I still had to boost it quite a bit. But it also has, right here, a microphone, a speaker built into it. And you can turn it on and you can boost up the volume if you like and hear how much this echo sounds. I don't really understand the purpose of that, but it is an option. And so I'm going to kill that real quick because we don't need to hear that. Now, I already demonstrated how you could change your voice coming out of that, and it does sound the same exact way when you change around the sound when you click the button here, the record button. So if I'm doing this right now, it does change my voice, and it's going to change my voice again here in a second as soon as I do that. Now, again, I don't like the way it's actually not working now, but that's okay. I don't need to have it up that loud. It's going to annoy my wife, and she's going to get very annoyed because this speaker is actually pretty loud. There's really no way to control the volume of it. Now, it does say volume up and down, but believe it or not, it doesn't really work when you press the button. It's the same volume the whole time. It wants you to be able to hear its quality and fidelity. Now, if you notice, there's an up and down button. Now, I did notice that if you press the power button, line in. Even though it doesn't really have a line in, it has an auxiliary micro USB slot right there. And that does not actually go USB, by the way. Neither does this right here. So I don't really understand. I guess maybe I could connect up some sort of a USB stick or something like this, but it doesn't acknowledge any stick that I plug into it. So I don't understand the purpose of it, in all honesty. Now,
Music play mode.
Okay, but it doesn't play anything. When I hit play, it's not going to play any music.
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Okay, so it's ready to compare.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
Great. I'm going to unplug that so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Now, you also change over modes because that was Bluetooth mode.
Line in.
That's line in. It also has a radio tuner,
Mode.
but you cannot actually adjust. I mean, it has a scan and it goes quiet, but it doesn't actually connect up to any radio stations. So I don't really understand a lot of the features, but I will say that the fact that it has a lot more features than just simply a roll-off and high shelf, I'm going to give the edge over to the unbranded microphone in the feature line. So right now, DPA is 2 and the unbranded one is 1. Category 4, wind protection. Now, you may be looking at the DPA 4017B and saying you should be using the wind protection that it came with. Now, I know you may be thinking that, but in a controlled environment like this, you shouldn't have to use anything like that. So I'm not going to,
provided that you use proper microphone technique, you should be able to get close to a microphone, and they're only about 4 or so inches away from me, and use them just fine. But unfortunately, the DPA is popping quite a bit. Now, you may be hearing this microphone over here and saying it's popping a little bit too, but it's not quite as bad as the DPA. The DPA is actually blasting all over the place with plosives, while this one is resisting it quite a bit. So regarding wind protection, I'm going to even the score with 2-2 and call it the unbranded one winning this round.
Category 5, build quality. Not surprisingly, the DPA 4017B is made of metal, and a very light one at that. It only weighs 2.4 ounces, which is 68 grams. It's extremely lightweight inside of a shock mount. If you're a boom operator, you really appreciate that, like I do. As opposed to the unbranded microphone, which is surprisingly heavier. Now, I don't know exactly what kind of microphone it is. I'm assuming it's a dynamic, but when you don't have power running to it, then it doesn't provide any kind of output current. So I guess it's a power condenser dynamic. I don't know what it is. There's the battery on the inside, and it does make a weird squeak noise. And I will also add that you cannot see the inside capsule on the 4017B, which is a little bit of a negative in my opinion, except for the fact that it sounds really good. But you can see the capsule on this microphone. And aside from the fact that it has a permanent bend in it, even at the base, which I don't really know what to think of that. The whole thing is made of rubber, so it does move around. It looks like a hearing aid battery, and in all honesty, I'm not that impressed with that. But it does have some kind of wacky looking pink foam on the inside, so that's probably where it gets the rose gold look from. Now, one of the other things I find kind of interesting is that the DPA microphone doesn't give it all when you press it, and neither does this, except in the grill just a little bit at the top. And now that I have this in front of my face, I will say that I can smell Chinese factory on the inside, or maybe that's coronavirus. I can't really tell. When I press in on the speaker grill, it does make a permanent indentation, and personally, I find that to be a negative. So I'm going to be giving this round to the DPA 4017B, which, by the way, the metal over here is RF immune. And actually, this may be too, because if you recall, when it's in radio mode, it doesn't pick up any radio stations. So this may be RF immune as well. Category 6, cool and unique features. Now, the DPA 4017B is a short shotgun microphone. Now, that's a common type of microphone, but the fact that it's modular does make it a lot more uncommon. And the fact that it's completely dead flat is also more uncommon. But then it also has switches on it too, so it's got some good features to it. As for extras on this, though, it is packed. Now, I do want to point out one thing that I did not show before. The fact that if you play a video, for example, my outro, it does put the music through to this. So if I want to speak through this microphone at the same time, I have that as an option. And I can speak over it with an echo, and right now this thing is screamingly loud. So I'm going to kill all of that. Okay, turn off. I don't want to wake up the entire household. It is 3:14 a.m. But I will say that this thing is packed with features. And if you press it and you switch from line in to line out, because the manual is not very effective, it's probably got features that I'm not even aware of. So in all honesty, I'm going to give the extra cool factor, because you don't really run into very many speakers built into a microphone. I'm going to give this round over to the unbranded one. Going into our 7th and final round, the DPA microphone has 3 points and the unbranded microphone has 3 points. So the final category is price. The DPA 4017B can be purchased for about $1,800 in the United States. And you'll have one, if you bought one right this second, in a couple of days. Despite the whole coronavirus thing going on, you can find someone to get it to you, probably shipped within a day or two, if that's what you're interested in. On the other hand, for $2.91, Wish.com will send you the rose gold, WS858 microphone, and it will arrive in a good month. So even if it does happen to have coronavirus on it, it will certainly die by the time the package arrives in about a month or two. So not surprisingly, round 7 is going to go to the unbranded microphone, giving the DPA 4017B a final score of 3 and the unbranded WS858 a final score of 4. So for the price of one DPA 4017B, you can get 600 plus of these WS858. So keep that in mind, because that is a sound comparison and full of sound advice.
Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.